Great. Good morning, everybody. As you can see, I never got out of the chair since the last one, but I want to get two in this morning before I get out there and take a walk. I've been walking with the same guys for 20 years, and I'm not sure they watch my videos. Shame on you, fellas. Anyhow, I'll go walk with those guys after we get this done. What I want to talk about is the next item in making people like you, sort of, but at least getting people to cooperate with you. So, and it's as easy a technique as you want it to be. It's making people feel important. We all need to feel important. Dale Carnegie, I know you're all going to rush out and get that book. I hope you do. But as he points out, there's a fairly short list of things that people actually want and need. And, I think he's got like 8 or 9 or 10 items on that list. And, things like food and shelter and clothing and, a bunch of things on that list. Life kind of provides. You do get those things. But there's one thing that people want and need, and it doesn't come to them easily. I mean, it just doesn't. And that is the need to feel important. And he'll go into great length about people who do all kinds of things to feel important. Tell a story about John Dillinger, who ran into some house and says, "I'm not going to hurt anybody here, but I'm John Dillinger. I'm John Dillinger." Right? So that was like, just beat on your chest, because the need to feel important. So sometimes that plays out kind of ridiculous, but it's a legitimate human need. You have it. I have it. Why do I always ask you to give me a thumbs up? Give me a thumbs up, please. Make me feel good, right? What else is it going to do? One day I'm going to die and those thumbs ups are going to be as good as not there. So, but we all want to feel important. And more to the point, your customers from whom you want a sale, they want to feel important, and your employees from whom you'd like a little cooperation and loyalty, they need to feel important. So you were given the position of the guy who could dole out importance and receive the benefits thereof. So remember back before I said words that build, it made it right there onto this list again. Choose words that build. It makes people, and particularly when people have messed up, it's nice for them. They're going to feel just, well, when they feel built up, they're going to understand their own importance. And believe me, life tries to take away importance for so many people. That's why work can be a safe place. They already have a home where they're beat down, and they got, and I mean, maybe you do too. And to that, if you feel beat down yourself, and particularly if you had a failure, I just want to give you this little thing. Zig Ziglar says, failure is an event. It's not a person. And that is so true. My friend, the fact that you are here listening to this, and you're probably trying to listen to other good stuff too, it shows that you're trying to either get to a mountaintop or climb out of a hole, one of those two things. And I want to tell you that the fact that you're doing it means that you can and will do it. So be encouraged. But if you're climbing out of a hole and you're still a little unsure if you're, maybe you're just a worm, you're not a worm, okay? You are not. And a good thing you can do is help other people who aren't so sure that they aren't worms be assured that they aren't either. Just build people, right? Make them feel important. So I need notes, so I'm going to keep looking over. Nobody gets enough encouragement. That's all that note says. But say things that are true. With respect to your employees, Ken Blanchard, he's the guy that wrote The 1 Minute Manager, and that's another book that I really, really, really suggest that you read. There was a period of time where the only book that outsold The 1 Minute Manager was the Bible. And that's saying something, okay? So, and it's a little teeny thin read too. It's the sort of thing you can read in a very short period of time. And there's going to come a point where I actually talk about that book specifically, the principles in there. But for Ken Blanchard's central theme was that you catch people doing something right. So rather than looking for, spotting the things that are wrong, what you do is you make a conscious effort to spot the things that are right. When you spot those things, then you are able to truthfully praise somebody. Now, praise doesn't easily come out of the mouths of many of us. I like to think of myself as a giving guy, but at least early on, it's not so bad for me now. I'm able to praise much more easily now, but I used to be very, very stingy with my praise. And part of it is because I felt like I confused praise with flattery. And you don't have to flatter. Flattery's a lie. I've got a note on that over there too. It's manipulative is what it is. Everybody knows it's a lie. Sometimes it actually works because people are so starved for, they're so empty that they'll even take flattery. But, in the long haul, it's not going to work with reasonable people. But I refer to Dale Carnegie, and I remember, I don't think it's in this book. The original book told about Dale Carnegie. There was this real grumpy guy at a train station, the ticket seller. And anyway, Dale Carnegie standing in line, and he says, "Oh my God, this guy's terrible." And he got up there, and he said, the man had a terrific head of hair, lots of good hair. And Dale Carnegie complimented the guy on what swell hair he had. Well, it's a little off the wall, don't you think? However, it was a point of pride for the man, as it should be. Guys like me, I'd like to have 4 times the hair I have. And so this guy responded to that. So if the things that you say to people build them and are truthful, they're not flattery. They're just truth. And, it makes them feel important and they can respond to you. I wanted to, one more point on this. I used to work with a guy named Dave Pomeroy. And Dave was a wonderful, wonderful guy. And Dave used to do this on a regular basis. He'd build people up. I can remember one time I screwed up at something, and I tried to remember what it was for this thing, but because I'd tell you. Whatever it is, I screwed it up, and it might have been a simple as, but it's a character issue. It's missing some kind of deadline. It seems to me I was supposed to have done something, and I didn't do it. At least that would make sense. Anyway, I'm like red-handed, didn't do my part, I guess. But what I remember was Dave's response to that, which was, he didn't rub my nose in it. It was sort of a, I know, and I know. So let's just move on from here and let's not do that anymore. And it was that kind of a moment. And it was wonderful not having my nose rubbed in it. And Dave passed away several years ago, but he's still on my list of the best people I've ever known. So how does that come to be? Right. And my job in those days is a wonderful job. Ran around the countryside having dinner with customers. And so I went into a lot of restaurants with Dave, right? And Dave would make a point to say to the waitress at the table or the clerk in the hotel or just anybody. I mean, Dave was always looking for an excuse to give somebody a compliment. But it would always be specific. He'd tell them, what you just did right there was terrific. Or, if he couldn't find anything specific, he'd say, I've seen the way you interact with your customers. I've been watching you, and you're really, really good at this. And I just thought you ought to hear it from somebody. Anyway, I know that Dave was a builder. He built me, he built those other people. And I gave Dave more than I would have. I was a self-employed guy. I had sold my business and I never worked for Copperfield Chimney Supply. And, think about it. You've been self-employed and now you're working for somebody else. There's an odd dynamic there. And I, internally I had trouble with that. But Dave built me so I could work with it. So you can do the same thing. The people that work for you, they've got their own set of dynamics, but you can lift them up so that they love being around you and want to give into their situation everything that they can, right? You can do this and it's easy to turn on. You can start, as soon as this is over, you can start doing it right now and you'll get results in hours. One day I'll tell you the story about when I read 1 Minute Manager for like the 6th time or something. I had results in just a couple hours. And you can do this too. Just turn it on. It's like a spigot. All right? Make people feel important. See you next time. Hey friends, I hope this was useful to you. Would you do something for me? Would you please share this with anybody you know that ought to hear it too? And then would you please give me the thumbs up and subscribe, right? That's kind of important on these things. Feel free to leave comments. All right, thanks a lot. And now get out there and do some winning.